All right. So you have maf'ulun bihi mansub. If you have to define, let's say, for example, uh, al-asr grammatically, right? So I'll simply say ism majroor like this. Ism majroor wa alamatu jarrihi al-kasra. That's it. Because uh, the kasra is the official representation, the primary representation of majroor. If it was fatha, let's say for example, we have fi misra. Misra is what? It is majroor, but there is a fatha there. Then you'll say, so fi misra, for example, for something like that, you'll say misr is ism majroor wa alamatu jarrihi al-fatha. Now, al-fatha is not the primary representative, the primary declension, the primary alamat, right, of majroor. So you'll give a reason. You'll say wa alamatu jarrihi al-fatha li'annahu, yes, li'annahu mamnu min as-sarf, because it's mamnu min as-sarf, because it's a diptot. As the diptots, we know that diptots do not accept kasra in their majroor form. So this happens is when there is a secondary alamat representing the representing any of the declensions. So here there's a case here going on. All right. So hold on. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to have iman, amanu. They have iman, or they believed. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. So amilu salihat, again fil madi, form 1, amila ya'malu, and as-salihat is mafulun bihi mansub wa alamatu nasbihi al-kasra zahira, you can mention also, but this one is enough li'annahu jama muannas salim. So this is the second thing in these people. But what's the third thing? Wa tawasaw bil haq. Now this is the point where last time you didn't know about it, this word, because you did not study advanced forms at that time. Now look at it, gorse. Gorse, look at the word tawasaw. So the first verb was
Form
amanu.
6.
Yeah, first word is amanu, form 4, and waw al jamaa, plural, the file. Second one was amilu. It's again form 1, but the file is plural, waw al jamaa. So exactly in the same way we have the verb here, and the file is waw al jamaa again. So what form is it?
6.
Very good. It is
6.
form 6, the one that we're studying right now, right? Tanawala. So what's going to be the madi of this? Madi, tell me madi as well as mudara.
Yatawaso.
What's the madi? First tell me the madi. The the basic one of the madi.
Tawaso. Tawaso.
Tawasaw is plural.
Sa. Tawasa.
Tawa. That's my question, right? What's going to be the madi? Tawa.
Tawasa.
Tawasa. Very good.
Sa.
Tawasa. So yes. Tawasa. Sorry. Right? Tawasa. Just like we did there was in the book. What's going to be the mudara? Yatawa. Yes.
Yatawas.
Yatawasa. What's going to be the mudara? Anyone? Simple. This is that's why I was saying that doing the exercise is important, right? So now you're going to do this nakis, right? So do the conjugation of these verbs also, because they would come in the Quran. It'll become difficult otherwise to identify in the Quran. You're saying something? This is
Yatavasu.
yes, very good. The question here is, if you look at the transition of this word in the any of the transitions, you will see the transitions there, enjoying good on each other, like this. 3-4 words are there, but in Arabic there's only one word, tawasaw. Like wasa, what's the meaning of wasa? Means wasiyat karna, right? To will. Like it's again related to the same thing from using the different forms. But when we have the verb coming in form 6, what happens in form 6 when you use the verb in form 6? There is reciprocal action, right?
reciprocal action.
Reciprocal action. Now you see this word is used here, tawasa. So there is a reciprocal action. यानी कि एक दूसरे को नसीहत करना, to enjoying good on each other. That's the reason why you have the transition, bigger one like this, right? 4 or 5 words. In English, you'll use 4 or 5 words, but in Arabic, you're just using just one word. So you're just using the verb in different forms, and it's giving a broader meaning because the thing is in the language itself, and then the usage of the language, beautifully put in the Quran, right? So tawasaw would mean ek dusre ko, like we have amma yatasaalun. Again, yatasaalun is plural. That's asking each other, asking ek dusre ko puchna, right? In the same one you have tawasaw ek dusre ko, right? It's a reciprocity of action, reciprocal action. So what they do, and this verb, this particular verb will accept its mafulun bihi with a bi. So it's not tawasaw al haq, they enjoin each other haq, no bil haq. That bi is there a harf jar because many of the verbs do not accept the verb directly. You have to bring the harf jar. That's how the verbs have been used traditionally. So bi is there. Another, can you give me another example of the verb that accepts bi? That's amana. This amanu, this verb, that's the first one used here. This also accepts the, but here there is no maful and bihi used. But this verb, if there was a maful and bihi there, this would also accept the maful and bihi with a bi. Amantu billahi.
Amanu billahi.
Absolutely. Like that. So bi. So exactly this verb again is using the maful and bihi with the bi. So this again jar majrur now. Bil haq. Right? The haq, truth. So they enjoin each other, enjoin with. See, even in English, you're using with, right? Enjoin each other with truth. So that's one. So this is a third quality in these people. If one has to go ahead and uh, not be a failure, we're not talking about being a success. We're just talking about saving oneself from the failure. No, in examination you have the pass marks. We're not talking about the distinction. We're just talking about the pass marks, just so that one gets pass in the exam. He gets pass marks, not our distinction or the first grade. So the surah is actually talking about saving yourself from the failure, eternal failure. Which failure? The disaster. So khusr. So except the people who have these things in them, they are the only ones who are going to get the pass marks. I mean, I'm just putting it that way. Watawasab al-haq and watawasab al-sabr. See, another point, a sabr. Sabr is does not mean, remember this point. Someone is going through a problem, you just tell him have sabr. Sabr does not mean bardash. It's a big word I'm telling you. Sabr is different. Bardash is different. The bardash that we have in Urdu, that's a different word. Bardash means bardash. It's not that. So inshallah we'll someday, discuss about the word sabr. But it's not bardash, remember that. Sabr is a positive word. Bardash is a negative thing in it. Sabr does not have a negative word in it. Sabr is a positive thing. So there's a difference. But because these words are used in our language, in Urdu also, so we tend to, mix the meaning. Like, for example, the word ajib. What's the meaning of ajib? Ajib in Urdu means what? What's the meaning of ajib? When you use the word ajib in Urdu, ये अजीब इंसान है, right? It's right,
Strange.
strange, right? Or ajib insan. Yeah, someone will say, yeah, अजीबों की तरह बात कर रहा है ना, strange, or it's used in a bit of a negative thing. You do not use it in a positive way. But in Arabic, ajib, it means wonderful. It is marvelous, amazing, right? It's positive. Like you have,
Amazing.
absolutely, like you have in Surah Qaf, right in the beginning. والقرآن المجيد بل عجبوا أن جاءهم منذر منهم فقال الكافرون هذا شيء أجيب. They call the Quran, this is an ajib. So, but that's not ajib in Urdu. That's an Arabic word for ajib, right in the second ayat of Surah Qaf. Marvelous, like you say. All right. So try to understand the meaning that the Arabic has. So sabr is in our Urdu means bardash, but Arabic sabr is not bardash. It's not bardash, it's different. Another point that you can look at here is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if in his divine wisdom, use the word tawasaw twice. Instead of, we could have had it like this: وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَبِالصَّبْرِ. right? Just like in many cases, what we found many places in the Quran that the word is used, and then you put the two things, you bracket them together and use a wow between them. You know my point? You just use tawaso and it gets multiplied on both because there is a harf atf coming. But no, tawaso is just twice. What does it signify? What does it signify? The tawaso is there twice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have used
because
tawaso. Yeah.
sabr is equally important.
So this signifies emphasis, actually, right? So and
Yes,
so the using of twice again, the same word. Instead of just having, if it was like this, tawaso bil haq wa bis sabr, it would have given us the same meaning because there's atf. So if tawaso gets applied on bil haq, it would get applied on bis sabr also. It's used twice, right? So you can get this, you can get to understand the emphasis of this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using this word twice in and in this to make us understand. Another point that you can look at this. So what are the four things? Iman, and the second thing is amal salihat. Very important. You can see this phrase throughout the Quran. Illa lazina amanu wa amil salihat. So just having the iman is not enough. We got to have the amal salihat. And then bil haq, tawas bil haq, enjoining each other for the truth and enjoining each other with patience. Now the thing here is, if you go ahead and bracket the first two together, iman and amal salihat, and second two, just like you bracket them in mathematics, a plus b, then you put these two into one bracket and another two brackets. So you bracket these two together, the first two, iman and amal salihat, and the last two you bracket them together. Another way to understand it. So this means that if you want to increase your iman, how do you do that? You increase amal salihat. If you say that I have iman, because nobody can see iman, it will reflect in your amal salihat. It should reflect. If you do not have the amal salihat, if there is no amal salihat, that reflects there is no iman within. If there is iman, so this is the surah telling us they're mutual. The moment your iman increases, automatically your amal salihat will increase. Now, if you want to increase your iman, increase your amal salihat. Your amal salihat goes up, your iman goes up. So it's mutual. Just try to think it that way. It's mutual. And the last two, you bracket them together. What is the greatest haq? Great everything. I mean, if there are people causing trouble to someone, you just tell them do not cause trouble to him. It's also haq. It's also truth. There's so many truths around the world. But what is the greatest truth? The greatest truth in the world is the existence of our creator. It's the greatest truth. There are
yes,
other truths, right? Below that, there are other truths, but this is the greatest truth. And apart from that, okay, there are some people who have denied the existence of God, but is there anything that nobody has actually denied? That is death. I'll just make it quick for you to understand. Death is something that nobody has ever denied, whether he is a theist or an atheist. Theist means someone who believes in God from any religion, or he doesn't believe in God. There's nobody who has ever said that death does not exist. Everybody knows there is death. I mean, now question is what happens after death? What happens after it? That's a question. Many people would be there. They would say that there is no. So that's again true. There are shades of truth throughout the world. If you tell this truth, existence of a creator, that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala created us, and the purpose of our life is this, and then we're gonna die. Death does not mean an end. Death is the transfer to another world. This is just the brief period we're in here right now. There was something before, and there is after. There's something. So it's a journey. So this is again a truth. So what happens is when the moment you start speaking the ultimate truth, even if you tell a small truth, there will always be resistance. It's always going to be there. Resistance from the falsehood is always going to be there. There is only one situation when your truth will not face any resistance. Sorry, there are two situations when your truth that you're speaking or acting on will not face any resistance. What are the two situations? Remember this. One situation, we're talking about tawassul al-haq, right? One situation when the truth that you understand as the truth will not face any resistance, because falsehood will always provide resistance to it. But in two situations, it's not going to put any resistance. One situation is that there is truth already present around you. So if you're saying the truth, Your truth and that truth is matching. So there's no resistance, obviously. There is no falsehood. That's what I'm saying. In that case, obviously, there's no resistance because there is no falsehood there and you're in the truth, which is not going to be the case. Second situation is that there is something, second situation, when your truth is not going to face any resistance, is that when you are hiding a part of truth. So there is a gentleman's agreement with the falsehood. So you're not giving the complete truth. And even in that case, you're not going to face any resistance. When you're going to be speaking the truth as it is, surely you're going to face resistance. Now, what do you do in that case? What are you going to do in that case? Watawasab is sabr, right? You have the ability to go ahead and take the falsehood by its horns. You have that ability. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, tawasab is sabr. You be patient with that. And you do not go ahead and say anything in that case, even though you have an ability to do that. If you see this uh, during the life of Prophet ﷺ, right? If you see that the life of Rasul ﷺ, he divided into two parts: 13 years in Mecca and 10 years in Medina. He preached Islam, and in 13 years of Mecca, the order from Allah was kufu aidiyakum, that apne haath bande rakho, no retaliation even in self defense. You know how profound this thing is. No retaliation are going to even in self defense. They're beating you, they're throwing curses on you, nothing, you're not going to say anything. Although you do have ability, but you're not going to say, because a bigger goal in picture, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us we've got to develop this ability of sabr. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. All right. So may Allah, Allahumma jalla minhum, Allahumma jalla minhum, Allahumma jalla minhum, Allahumma
Allah.
ja'alna min ibadikal. Just memorize this dua and make this dua always whenever you get an opportunity. Allahumma ja'alna min ibadikal lazina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Allah, make us among those of your slaves who have iman, who believed, who do amal salihat, uh, who enjoin each other of truth and enjoin each other of patience. Because if we have, see, all four are important. It's not that you're just going to say that I have iman, I don't have other things. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough for success. The basic criteria of success is these four. And you'll find the scholars saying that if you have iman, obviously its logical conclusion or logical manifestation would be in your amal salihat. It's going to be there. If there is, it's going to be, it's logically going to be there. And when there is amal salihat, tawassul haq is going to be there. When there is tawassul haq, sabr has to be there, because resistance is all obviously going to be there. So these are actually all the manifestations of the same thing, but all four have to be there. It's like you go to a doctor, I tell the doctor that I'm facing from this problem, and he gives you a medicine. He gives you four medicines, and you only take one. You only take two. You don't take all four. It's not going to be enough, right? It can be counterproductive. You can become more. Your health can get worsened. So all four have to be there. So, and again, this is not talking about here. Allah is not telling us here that uh, you're going to get Jannatul Firdaus, the great Jannats you're going to get. You're going to get. It's not that. It's just talking about the basic survival, basic success, the pass marks in the examination. That's there in the surah. And so there are five things in it. In the beginning, as I told you, that many of the scholars say that this is the index of the Quran. See, in the Quran, you have the details of iman, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here says, except those who have iman. What kind of what on what things what on what things to believe? That's in the Quran, right? Iman billah, iman bil Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on his prophethood, iman on the yawm akhirat, right? So then there are details in the Quran. That's what the Quran has, in right? It gives us the details about these things. Amal salihat. What are the amal salihat? Inna allazina amanu qalu rabbuna Allah summa istaqamu tatanazzalu alayhim al-malaika. And you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what are the types of amal salihat? It's not that what my understanding of amal salihat is. That doesn't consider the amal salihat that Rasul told us, that this is amal salihat. And what the Quran told us, what's Amal Salihat, that's Amal Salihat. My understanding, I'll say that, okay, even this is, I'm doing a good thing. I'm making something of my own. No. What Prophet Sallallahu told us, that is an Amal Salihat, right? Obviously, what he told us from the Quran. So, Amal Salihat. Quran talks about Amal Salihat throughout, right? As in Surah Baqarah, you have the Ayatul Bir talking about the Amal Salihat in detail. That's ayat number, I think, 177, 177, I think. Then you have Tawassul Haq, the truth. Quran talks about enjoining each of the truth. Uh, Here we're talking about Haq. In other places you'll have Ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhawna anil munkar. So the terminology changes, right? But the idea remains the same. And then you have Sabr. Throughout the Quran, you have the Sabr. The last ayat of Surah Al Imran, for example, right? Munusbiru wa sabiru wa rabitu wattaqullaha la'allakum tuflihun. So Quran has index. I mean, this surah is index of the details that are in the other surahs. But then the question can again arise that in the Quran you also have the story of Adam al-Islam and Iblis. You have the story of Yusuf al-Islam. You have the story of Musa al-Islam and Fir'aun. So where does that fit in? Right? So it fits in where? What does it fit in? Under this index. If this is an index, under what heading are you going to put those stories? The story of Musa al-Islam and Fir'aun, the story of Isa al-Islam and the other people, and Adam al-Islam and Iblis. Under what heading are you going to put that? If this is the index,
وتواصوا بالحق
you're,
وتواصوا بالصبر.
you're going to put it under Wal Asr. The time, the Zamana, Gawah, the time is the witness that these people who followed, who had these things, they were successful, and the people who did not have it, they were failure. So while Asr is there, because the time extends from past to future, so it's a witness to everything that is happening. So all these stories are going to be covered under the index of Al Asr, right? So Asr, the time, is covering all of this and telling us that the people were only those are successful. Those people are not successful who today our consideration of the success is. That's not success. The success is the time is a witness. Zamana in चीजों का गवाह है कि those people who had these qualities for, they were the successful ones. In Surah Yusuf you have it. In the story of Adam al-Islam and Iblis you have it. Musa al-Islam and Pharaoh you have it, because these people did not have, and the other thing, and so on and so forth. So there is nothing beyond Surah Asr. The rest of the Quran is the tafsir of the same basic thing that's there. So it's like saying that you have put a samandar, to see the ocean, in a box, just like that. And Quran would be the tafsir, the commentary of the same. This remains the index. It's just like understanding of, another way to understand is that just like a seed, just like a seed has an entire tree in it. It's like that. It's an entire tree in it, right? So that should be it for today. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll be having the session at 7:30, because we have Maghrib here at around 7. So 7:30 would be our session. So we'll study chapter 21 and form 6 in detail tomorrow. All right. So with anyone has any questions or anything, we're good. So with that, we end the session. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So